Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you guys are watching from. Um, I'm going to jump into a couple different things. So, first, I just want to say my name is Laura Russell. I am a registered nurse. I have been a nurse for over 22 years. I did keto for 28 years. And in 2019, I went carnivore. So, I just had my carniversary the first week of February for 6 years. So, it's been a while. So first I want to welcome Amy. She is the new member for here. And then also she is in one of the new Marco Polo groups. So just to kind of explain kind of what that is I do have a Marco Polo group. I have several that we get on every single day. You don't have to get on every single day, but it's just a place where we can encourage, other carnivores, ketovore, exercising, different things, questions, bouncing ideas off of each other, keeping each other accountable. It's kind of nice to have that. Um, and, I will answer some medical questions to the best of my legal ability of being a nurse. I've had several people that use that, to ask about certain things, or a family member has this, what would you recommend? What should they ask for? Testing, different things like that. So that is something that we do. But Amy did start in that group today. So the Marco Polo, what it is it's a messaging app and it is a video messaging. So you actually record, you hit the record button on it. Once you've been added, you've been given the link to get into the group, and you either ask your questions, say what you're going to say, whatever it is that you want to go over. And then um, whoever's in that group. So, like in the group that Amy is in, there's just myself and another gal that are in that. And we're very much all alike. We are very similar in lots of areas. Um, and so it's a very private thing. So, like, we have a men's group, we have girls groups, we have different things like that. But anyway, we get on there every single day and share. So yeah, and it is you go out to like my YouTube channel and there's a join button and it is I believe it is the Carnivore Feline Life 24/7, I think is what you click on. Um it's at the very bottom. There's like three options of join. But anyway, and that's like 19.99 a month, and but you get a lot of interaction for that. So a lot of other people out on here, have these humongous groups, and nothing against them, but I don't think you're going to get all your questions answered. It seems like sometimes you don't get your question answered. So I like this to be a little smaller, a little bit more personal. So just if anybody wants to be part of that, they just need to send me a message. They can do it via my email, which is in the description, and or they can put it on here and leave their email, and then I will get with them. So if anybody wants that, it is an option. So, hello, Karen. Hi, Grace. So tonight's, I feel like my computer's up high. I did my interview with Cindy, which should be coming out pretty soon. She recorded it and then she's going to edit it and then send it out to me sometime, hopefully this week. And then I will share that out on my website. It was very interesting. It was a good, but it was like an hour and 45 minutes. I think when she cuts it down, it'll be less than that, but it was pretty long. I was like, man, I almost had a sore throat. I was like, I like to talk, but boy, that was a lot of talking. Hey, Charlie, how are you? Um, So, how is everybody's weather? So I know where everybody lives, but what kind of weather are you guys having today? We got up to 59 degrees today and everything is melting. So everything is a sloppy mess. So I drove past two car washes and I wanted to pull in there so bad and wash my car and I'm like, don't do it because the next 3 days are just gonna be slime everywhere you go on these gravel roads and different roads to see patients, so I'm like, "Nope." So I didn't do it. Hey, Bev, how are you? So I didn't do it. So tonight's topic that we're gonna go over is sarcopenia, which is a very fancy term. Let's see. It is a muddy mess here in Kentucky. Yeah, I'll bet it is. Yeah, I'd say your temperatures have warmed up as well. Um, but I'll take that over the negatives because we had some negatives. Not as bad as like a gal in one of our groups, Rachel. She lives in upper Minnesota and she had like way below zero without the wind chill. And I'm like, no, which is good for ice fishing. Her family likes to ice fish. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. So anyway, let's go over sarcopenia. Uh, I'll try to stay on topic. Um, so that is just age-related muscle loss and weakness. Also, with that, you're going to see some people have a higher incidence of falling. Okay, so there it's called an unsteady gait. How you walk is called a gait. GAIT. Balance can also be something that goes off as we age. I do think the more fat we take in, I think we keep those little crystals that are down in the middle ear. They're actually rocks in our head. I do think that that keeps that moisturized and that will help those go back into place the way they're supposed to. They get dry and you lay a certain way and they get out of place. And then, these people have dizziness. Can be medication related as well. So you have to look at what's causing it. But with sarcopenia, it is absolutely something that can happen as we age. I would say the people who are less likely to have sarcopenia are absolutely going to be ketogenic, ketovore, and carnivore people. I don't think most people that I've worked with have that issue um, at all. So um, let's see, having sarcopenia and just the act of losing muscle is a metabolic issue on itself. Okay, just because you're catabolizing, that means breaking down your own. Is when you break down your own muscle, your own whatever it is. That's called catabolism. And those proteins are bigger, okay, than like the natural things that break down and go through the kidneys and stuff. So you want to have it as healthy for your kidneys as you can possibly do. Hey, Don. Um, so the things that put you at high risk, of course, are aging. They call it a natural decline, but I don't know if I'm going to really 100% believe in that. I do know you have a decrease in your muscle building hormones, but I almost want to go back and look at these grandparents that worked on the farms and manual laborers. And I worked with some old timers that were in their late 70s in the factories and they were built. I mean, they still had biceps and triceps and traps and their backs were just muscular. Um, so I don't know if I would call it normal or natural that this happens. I would say that we've seen this happen because of the bad environment, the bad food, the bad rest of the stuff that goes with that, is what I would believe. Insulin resistance, though, can lead to higher probability of you having sarcopenia. It just reduces your body's ability um, to use protein for the muscle repair. So, when you work out and you're lifting weights or you're doing any kind of exercise to a specific muscle group, you're actually getting little tears in that muscle. And the repair is what actually, helps build that. Plus, you have more blood supply when you utilize those muscles, especially the large muscle groups. Okay. So like your quads and your gluteus maximus or minimus. I used to have a maximus, now I have a minimus. Inflammation. So, chronic inflammation also accelerates muscle breakdown and then sedentary lifestyle. And so, I think where they say that this is a natural decline, I'm like, is it? Or is it that it's more sedentary, lack of resistance training, lack of, even if you just do your own body weight exercises? I have a lady that's in her 80s. She doesn't have any kind of weights. She's used some like cans of like uh, canned meats and beans and different things to use for like 1 pound weights. But she just uses body weight. And it's so cute because she'll do this now and she's got this little bubble of it's just cute. I'm like, look at you. Not quite to Arnold Schwarzenegger yet, but yeah, she's definitely gained muscle. And that's in her 80s. She does do carnivore, but still. It's pretty amazing to see somebody make some muscle. Let's see. Karen says it's 60 here, maybe a bit more. Saw my second robin. Yeah, we saw some robins also. Yeah, in Arkansas. That's awesome. We saw a group of robins last Thursday and it was like 5 degrees. And I'm like, I think you guys are back just a few days early. Which they did that a couple years ago too, and them poor things about froze to death. So, but hopefully, hopefully that's a sign that the weather is going to be good, right? So, the question that I always put out is, can a ketogenic or carnivore, ketovore, whatever you want to call it, they're all ketogenic. Um, can that help with sarcopenia? And so, just basically, the idea, the premise behind that is providing high quality protein. That either one of those diets are going to be more of a higher protein and fat. They are rich in what they call bioavailable protein. You're going to get that from meat. You're going to get that from eggs. You're going to get that from dairy if you're able to do dairy. And all of that because it is bioavailable, which means you don't have to convert anything. It's already there, ready to go. Kind of like methylated vitamins. They're already ready for you to uptake. You don't have to do an enzymatic, any kind of switching. Um, but that goes right to the muscle, especially if, and this is what I do. This doesn't mean you have to do this. I always work out fasted because I feel like that helps with the fat loss. So I will work out fasted. And then I usually don't eat because I work out in the morning, usually around 5. So I usually will not eat. Like today, it wasn't until 2:30. Um, that I ate, and I'm still full. Of course, it's only 5:45 PM Central Time, so but I'm still full. I won't eat again until tomorrow, who knows when, or maybe I won't, I don't know. I'll always make something, but I may get there and be like, "Nah." So, another way that eating ketogenic carnivore is gonna be that it stimulates muscle protein synthesis. Animal proteins, so the meat sources from the animals contain leucine, which leucine, it is actually what helps trigger muscle repair and growth. And you cannot get this from a plant. I'm not being hateful to anybody who likes to eat vegetables. You do not get leucine. There are several that you do not get from a plant source, not beans, not nothing. It really needs to come from an animal source. Reducing insulin resistance, of course, we all hear that all the time, insulin resistance, that reducing that with the lower carbohydrate diets will increase your insulin sensitivity, which is what we really all want to have, making it easier to build and to maintain muscle. Um, Another thing is when you eat a ketogenic carnivore type lifestyle, you will lower your inflammation. When you do that, especially like the processed food stuff, the box foods, the seed oils, all of that, it can help reducing inflammation, which contributes to the good muscle, like where you break down muscle and rebuild it. That's a normal thing, just like our bones. You break down the bones, you rebuild the bones. Same with the muscle. You need to have there is a turnover that you have to have because those cells, as they age, they need to go away, and then you need to have the new baby cells born. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Hey T, how are you? Um, and then, of course, eating, a ketogenic carnivore type lifestyle, it boosts your hormones. Healthy fats support testosterone and growth hormone levels, as well as your sex hormones. It probably does more for the sex hormones than any. Both of these hormones, though, are very critical for muscle retention. Okay. Muscle growth and muscle retention. So if you're somebody that's noticing that you're having that issue, um, maybe I'm trying to think, probably one of the easiest things digestion wise, unless you have histamine issues, is bone broth. It is so packed with these things that you need that will really help stimulate when you use these muscles. You can't just not move at all. Um, Although there are some people who do they do get some muscles and they're wheelchair bound. I have somebody that's wheelchair bound and they've got abs. They hadn't had abs in 30 years. So I mean it can't happen. So this the best strategies for preventing sarcopenia on this type of eating, it says to eat enough protein. So it does say 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight that you want to be at, not where you are at. So you have to decide where you want to be, and that many kilograms of that weight is 1.2 to 2. I do not do that. That is what is recommended out there by multiple, like Dr. Berry and all of those. I do less than that. I do zero point 0.8 to 1 is about where I go for kilograms, okay, or grams per kilogram of body weight, because I do a much higher fat content. I do the 80-20, 80% fat, 20% protein. And sometimes I even have more than that. The other day, I literally ate a pound of ribeye fat, and half an hour later, I ate like 2 meat sticks that I made. And that was it for the day. Like it was almost like a fat fast. So that's what I feel like has worked for me. Everybody kind of has to do your N equals 1 experiment to see kind of what works for you. So the things you want to do is you want to really prioritize fatty cuts of meat, which 10 years ago were the cheapest cuts of meat. It was your dirt chicken, your turkeys, it was your cheaper, like 70-30 hamburger. But I think they're starting to catch on to us. Eggs, of course, were cheaper. But when you kill millions of chickens because they might get the flu, egg prices are going to go up. I know it's kind of crazy how that works. Um, and my daughter raises chickens. So anyway, I won't get on that soapbox today. That will definitely get me demonetized and kicked off of YouTube. Because they don't kill us when we have the flu, right? I feel like, no, we survive and we move on. Anyway, so some of the things that you can also do, and this is something I do utilize, is resistance training. So that's where you may just lift a little bit of weight, like 5 pounds. You may have like those stretch bands. I use several different, they're not really called weights, but resistance bands. I use set ones that are like equal to like 10-pound resistance, 15, and I have a 30. And so I do different things with those. So that's something you could do. And then the body weight exercises of sit ups, push ups, leg lifts, bicycles, Russian twists. I mean, there's all these things that you don't have to go to the gym. Some people really do better going out to the gym. I've done that and I can do that. I prefer to do my stuff here because I want to do it first thing as soon as I wake up. I want to go out and ground and then I want to do my workout, drink my water, and then move on with my day. So I don't like to have to drive someplace, but that's just me. Some people I know really, really, really like it, and that's okay. Another thing that you really have to do for the muscles to kind of stay, um, and to be able to build muscle is you really have to make sure you're getting enough electrolytes in. And you can make your own electrolyte drink. I think Ken and Nisha Berry did, I don't remember what they called it. Ketorade, maybe? I think it was Ketorade. You can go to her YouTube channel and find that recipe on there. But you can make your own. If you don't want to buy them or it's expensive to buy some of them, then you can make your own. But you just want to make sure you have enough sodium, good sodium, not the table salt, potassium and magnesium, because that really does help muscle function because we're electrical. So you have to have those electrolytes for those things to work, including your heart muscle. Um, you could consider creatine supplementation for muscle growth and muscle strength. And you just want to make sure it's a very, very clean source. I prefer to get mine just from the ruminant meats and eat it that way. But some people do use creatine like in their coffee and stuff like that, which is completely fine to do. Sarcopenia is not just about aging, though. It's about a lack of muscle use and poor nutrition, most often. A well formulated keto or carnivore diet combined with strength training can slow, prevent, and even reverse sarcopenia. So Are you seeing any is anybody on here has anybody here had any of those issues where they feel like they were losing muscle definition, things like that? So I will just tell you personally, um, probably 8 or 9 months ago, maybe even 10 months ago now, I was starting to lose the definition in my arms that I had worked really hard to keep. I don't want to look like a dude, but I had pretty good. I mean, I could turn my arm like that and you could see, my lines and everything. And I kind of like that. But I was starting to notice that that was going away. It wasn't quite as much. And I was like, huh. So I changed up my protein fat ratio at the same time. Just, I don't know. I just listened to my body and it was like, you need more of this and less of this. I did that and I actually had to back off of push ups. So I was doing up to 150 to 200 push ups every other day. I do up to 3.5 minute planks. I do push ups in between my sprinting, which are just kind of at this, not flat on the floor, but like that. Um, so 6 times I do 15 each time too. And then I do, like I said, my lifting weights on the other days and my stretching with the resistance bands. But my triceps were getting so big, I was like, I got to back off. So I've actually decreased what I'm doing with the arms because it was getting too much. So, but we all want to look a little better in our short sleeve shirts in the summer. So I don't really care if I do actually, but a lot of people do care if they look a little better. So yeah. So let's see. Simpson says, I've been taking creatine for a few weeks and now I don't have major muscle aches. Oh, after workouts. I used to still have pain even days after your weightlifting. Well, that's interesting, Simpson. Wow. Because, yeah, I usually, even when I do a new workout and it's something really crazy, I may be a little sore that day, but I don't usually hurt the next day. That's interesting. Yeah, my husband used to do lots of weightlifting years ago, and he used a really good creatine. I think it was a bovine type creatine, but he used that. So yeah, huh, that's months, not weeks. Well, good for you. I'm glad that it's helping for sure. Hmm, that is interesting. So that's good information for me to have too, so that if I have somebody who, is having that issue, I'm trying to think of any of the clients I'm working with right now. I don't think any of them are having that. I don't think so. So anyway, tomorrow night, I've got two things I'm going to be on here. So at 5:30, I'm actually going to have Rick, Carnivore Hunters. There's two brothers, Rick and Doug. I don't think Doug's going to be able to make it, but Rick is going to be able to make it. We were supposed to do it last Tuesday, um, and they're at Mountain Standard or Mountain Time, and we're on Central Time, and we got our wires crossed, so our times were put out. But anyway, I do have Rick's CGM, and he's going to be on. And then Doug did send me his and said it was okay for us to go over his CGMs and kind of see just does the things that you think should raise your blood sugars, does it? And things that you were like, oh, this you wouldn't think this does, and they do. So and that's different on certain people too. But I just thought that was pretty cool. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna go over next week's topic. Next week's topic is going to be about gout, what it is, what can cause those things, and then, how can eating keto or carnivore help with that. Um, so yeah, so if you guys aren't busy tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be on here with Rick. They both live in Colorado, but they're a couple hours apart, I believe, from each other. But we're going to have him. And then after I'm done with him, then it'll be with Russ on Homesick Buckeye, which is we grilling, baby. So that is what we will be doing tomorrow. So if you guys would like to come watch that, that would be awesome. As always, if you like this, please hit the like button, share it if there's somebody that has any of these issues, even if it's elderly, falling, having those things. I would talk to them about increasing, what they're eating and their movements. Let's see. Tomorrow at 5:30 sounds great. Great, T. You're welcome, Grace. So as I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. See ya.